Hello Taurus. Great to have you here. My name is Shona. Today's reading is a general love forecast. As always, take the messages that resonate and then release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way, Taurus. What I'm getting for you guys is that I feel like for some of you, you might be in a relationship with someone who is actually very, very good for you. So this is like something that is, like an established relationship or a marriage type of a situation. And this is coming from your end, okay? Where I feel like this person has been very, very good to you. The relationship itself is very stable. But I do sense that you might be a little bit bored and you might want to break out of the monotony. And a lot of you are kind of going through a situation where you might even be tempted. I see an older person outside of the relationship, which is kind of like, serving as a temptation for you. I don't feel it's for your partner so much. I feel like it's more for you. So a lot of you might be tempted by this person who is, I feel, a little bit older. I feel like lighter hair for some of you. And for others, I feel like you are wanting to implement some type of an end to an existing relationship in order to forge a new path with another person. And I want to warn you just a little bit, because I feel like if you're doing the juggling act for this month, you might want to be very, very careful, because I do sense, things being brought to light, okay? I also feel that your current partner, if this sounds familiar and you're experiencing something like this, you want to re-examine the relationship that you have now, because I feel like your partner is really, really good for you. And this is a person who loves you very deeply. And the new person, they're a little bit slick and slippery. So I don't get a good impression about that new person. I don't feel that they have serious intentions. And I feel like they've been around the block a few times, which means they know what to say to, make you feel a certain way. They've got you kind of like wrapped around their fingers, so to speak. So just be a little bit careful about that, okay? For others of you, I do feel some home situations. So I see you like going around looking at property or thinking about maybe transitioning from a bigger house to a smaller space, because you might have like left a relationship behind and you feel like you don't need that extra space anymore, because now you're kind of like on your own. And then for others of you, thinking about, moving out of a really cramped space into a bigger home. So I feel like moving from an apartment to a home where you are actually, buying a property together with another person or just by yourself. Some of you who are in relationship, I feel like you're swirling away money. So I feel like there's a difference in habits, spending habits especially, and in relationships, spending habits can create a lot of friction if you're not careful, okay? So I feel like your partner might be very, very extravagant. They might have a penchant for emotional spending. And then for others of you, like one person is very extravagant, the other person is very, I would say, is very practical or even a little bit frugal. So it's really hard for you both to have like a middle ground as to, how much money should we save up and how much money we should spend. And I feel like if you're doing some type of a joint venture where you are getting, for example, a property together, I do sense that it's a major source of contention where somebody might, kind of hide their extravagant spending and then get found out, or you find out that, there's arguments over, there's arguments over spending, and especially over like, somebody purposely hiding what they are spending their money on. So I feel like there's some issues here regarding finances, regarding, how you spend money, how your partner spend money, etc. For those of you who are coupled. So I feel a very heavy energy for coupled people, especially who are married or who are at least in a very serious committed relationship and you're living with your partner. What I'm also feeling as if I feel like, going back to that person that is serving as a source of temptation, I do feel they're older, okay? And then for others of you, you might have somebody around your environment who is younger, but you're not really entertaining the younger person. I feel like the younger person is fun, exciting, and things like that. But I feel like they look up to you and they admire you, and I feel like they do like you quite a bit if it's a younger person. The older person, a little bit tricky, a little bit slippery. So just be careful about that, okay? What I also feel as well is really stand firm in your conviction for this month, okay? And I'm hearing the message here that, you might not agree with the popular opinion. So that could be in a workplace, relationship, that could be in any type of an environment. And you might not, prescribe to what the majority prescribe to. But I feel that it's really important for you to, put your foot down and stick your claim and have some type of conversation where you are going to be able to express, why you feel the way you feel and why you are taking a specific stance. Okay, so putting your I feel like they're saying here like putting a stake in the ground and then stand firm. So I feel like that's going to be really important for you to do because I do sense that it's more about individuality versus groupthink for this month, and it's really important for you to stand on firmly in your own ground. Okay. We are heading into the time of Libra. It is greatly about compromise and group mentality as well. Diplomacy, compromise, group mentality, and all of these things. And I feel like diplomacy is going to be very, very important for you guys because I see like this dichotomy between, what I want versus what another person who's really important to me wants. And you're going to have to like find a middle ground. So I feel like, having an open channel of communication, open discourse, using diplomacy, but also being firm in where you stand, but being diplomatic but firm. Okay, that's going to be really important as you navigate the energy for this month. I honestly feel it might be a little bit tricky. There's a lot of squabbles and disputes coming through, so if it hasn't happened already, I feel that it might happen like towards the middle of the month. Okay, so just be prepared for that and utilize diplomacy in order to get far for this month. So let's go into your reading here. First of all, we have the Nine of Swords and the Hierophant. The Nine of Swords indicates a situation where there is a little bit of stress, strain, a little bit of worries and anxiety linked up with it, okay? So I feel like for some of you, there might be a little bit of a money crunch coming through for this month. A lot of you might be in a work environment where they are potentially downsizing. These cards are coming out very early on in the spread. So what it indicates to me is these things have already happened. They're downsizing. As a result, you're going to have to like work twice as hard. You're going to have to carry the extra burden, the extra workload that the other person, the person they let go, is no longer there to do the work. So you're carrying extra workload. There's a lot of overtime as well associated with this card, and this is a card about not getting enough sleep and kind of like being a little bit overworked. Okay, so I do feel that coming through for some of you. For others of you, there might be some contentions within the home environment as it relates to value system. Once again, the Hierophant deals with institutions. This can be major governmental institutions, or this can be like I feel like even like educational for some of you, family is an institution, and I also feel like hospital, if there is somebody that in your environment who is recovering from some type of surgery, or it has been, going through some type of drug trial or drug regimen, I definitely feel like there is a little bit cause of concern as it pertains to a family member, okay, who's not feeling at their best. They might be just having, from any range of like mild fever, they're in the hospital, or recovering from surgery. So I feel like there is something within the home environment that's a source of contention for you. For others of you, and I feel this is what I was referring to at the very beginning when I mentioned that you're in a relationship and that is no longer that you're no longer happy with, and I feel like the relationship itself is stable, but you're not really sure how you can proceed, and you're not really sure if it's worth investing more of your time in. So you're no longer happy. You're kind of thinking about other people. You're thinking about someone else. And the Hierophant is also the card of, this is your sign, the card of Taurus. So it basically means that, taking a control of a situation rather than ruminating over it and cycling through like worst case scenario. I do feel like getting yourself grounded for this month and seeking some type of spiritual advice from elderly members of the family, or even members of the clergy, or even like, getting a second opinion from another doctor, for example, would be very, very instrumental for you to move forward. Because I feel like without the information, or without having access to all the information at your disposal, you're going to think about worst case scenario, and the situation itself is not all that bad, okay? So it's a reminder here that you've got some help, spiritual guidance that is trying to come through for you. And whoever you seek advice from is their spirit's going to speak through them in order to relay some important messages to steer you in the right direction, okay? So psychic energy, and I rarely say this for a Taurus because it rarely comes out, but I feel like psychic energy coming through very, very strongly for this month, as well as heightened intuition. And I feel like what's happening in your environment is that the energy is very like bubbly. There's a little bit of conflict brewing in your external environment. There's things happening within the home and relationship and work. So pay attention very carefully to the signs this month, because I feel like for some of you, you might come across a snippet of information, and then later on you're interacting with another person and they bring up something related to that first topic, and I feel like that's going to really help you gain like the upper hand, okay? So I definitely feel a lot of spiritual, insights are being tossed around throughout the month, and it's really important for you to try not to ruminate, not to worry too much, and try to live in the present moment so that you can absorb this information, so that you're a little bit more directed and grounded with your energy. The next two cards that are here is the Three of Pentacles as well as the Princess of Cups. So the Three of Pentacles indicates a work environment where you are collaborating with a lot of other people. And I feel like this is more work related, okay? The Pentacles suit indicates like work projects, things of material or even financial value. So I feel like you are going to be called upon to help other people, train other people, provide some type of technical knowledge or expertise in order to help other people do their work. I definitely feel a lot of you are in like upper management, middle management positions where you are directing other people where to go, what to do, and other people are really looking up to you, okay? For those of you who are just starting out, like entry level, there's a lot of potential here for you to shine in a work environment. And I feel like a lot of you are very methodical. Like when you absorb technical information, you know the ins and out of it. You're a lot like a Scorpio in some way. Your energy is very like concise. So I feel like that's going to be a big asset for you, okay? You don't just gloss things over. You actually take the time to learn the ins and out, and whatever expertise or knowledge that you display. So put yourself kind of like in center stage and show them how much you know, because I do feel that you're going to be received very well, and especially if you're just starting out in your position, that might be a good mark for you when you're up for like performance review, or you're up for like promotions review, okay? So the energy here is about playing nice. Even though you might be in a supervisory role and you're directing other people on what to do, I do sense that you're doing it in a way where, you know, it's not like you're looking down at other people. You're leveling out the playing field, and even though you might be the senior person and they're like the newbies, you still treat them with a lot of respect and with a lot of humility. And I feel like that's really going to win you over a lot of allies, okay? So the Three of Pentacles here is a card also as well about expansion of your craft. A lot of you are trying, if you are business owners, if you are working in a company, I do see a lot of expansion. So first of all, I mentioned here that there might be, you know, some type of reshuffling where they are laying off people. They're laying off the inefficient people. And in this instance, the work itself is being enhanced. So you're handling possibly, you know, twice the workload. So there's a lot of work coming through. It's busy energy. And it also indicates expansion, trying to expand into a different branch, trying to open up a new branch, trying to train new employees that are just coming through, okay? Or even getting new clients coming through and signing contracts. So like I said, the way that you carry yourself and you know, how diplomatic, how humble you are, it's going to be very instrumental in allowing you to win over new allies, new clients. They trust you. There's a great sense of like mutual rapport. There's friendship base. So, you know, no one is larger or no one is lesser than or more than the other person. So you're leveling out the playing field and you're treating everyone with the utmost respect. And I feel like people really, really appreciate you for that. Okay. You're very humble, down to earth, and you know, as an earth sign, that's what I heard, just very down to earth, and that's going to be one of your major asset for this month. So what's coming through here is the Page of Cups, and the Page of Cups is an offer. So this is somebody that is really appreciative of the work that you've done, the guidance that you've given them. And I feel that they're going to come to you and they're going to make it known. They're going to give you some feedback, and they're just going to be like, you know what, these are the things that you really helped me with. I really appreciate it. A lot of you might be dealing with a water sign, a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio. This can be in any type of setting, but I feel more like in the work environment where you might be training somebody. You're giving them a lot of technical information. They might have struggled through it at first, but then under your guidance, I feel like they're thriving as a result. Okay, so very, very good card. So the next cluster deals with your home situation. So once again, we have the Eight of Cups. It's home and marriage. So for some of you, the marriage situation here, this is something that might have been very, very stable at one point. It's stable, it's fun, it's exciting, but I feel like there might have been a lot of discord within the relationship. It feels almost to me as if it's not really... It seems to me like the relationship was very cosmetic. So I'm getting like the outer appearance, you know, the way that you both together look to the outside world as a couple is very good. I feel that, you know, you look good together as a couple, but behind the scenes, there were a lot of differences, just like glaring differences between you and another person. You might not see eye to eye, you might not have a lot in common, and I feel like the relationship seems to you at this point a little bit superficial. So you are looking for something more in depth. You are looking for something a little bit more profound and that stirs or speaks to you on a soul level. So you're trying to find the right person. You're trying to find the soulmate. So you are leaving some type of a living situation behind, or a relationship or a marriage behind, okay? Now, the Four of Wands here indicates, you know, home situation or even a marriage type of a situation, okay? It's a card about the ultimate stability in a relationship. And the way it's depicted on this card, everything is very, very glamorous, very extravagant. So I feel like you and your partner, once again, that whole issue about, you know, who's spending what and how they're spending their money, that's a major source of contention because you might not have the same spending habits, and that's creeping into the relationship. For some of you, you are physically walking away from this situation. You are moving home, or I don't feel so much moving home. That's more like the Ten of Wands. But I do feel like moving away from a relationship because it's no longer emotionally fulfilling for you. And you're going you're doing this kind of begrudgingly because I feel like the relationship was very stable. The other person's not a bad person at all. It's just you drifted apart and you might not have the same value system, okay? So you're moving on and you're trying to find, that perfect relationship for you. What I'm also feeling as well is for some of you, there might be, this is a card about slinking away in the dead of the night. So possibly sneaking away or sneaking out of a situation because you're tempted, you're pulled, compelled to a different person. So be very careful about this as it relates to you, because I feel like somebody is tempted by a situation, okay? Like somebody might be traveling a lot or working a lot and working the night shift and they're never home. So their relationship partner doesn't know what's going on. So I feel like there's ample opportunities for temptation, the lure, to lure you away from a situation where you are committed. So just be really careful about that. The next cluster here deals with the Ten of Swords and the Seven of Wands. These are two major conflict cards, okay? So the Ten of Swords is a situation where actions and words that are very hurtful are thrown about within an argument. The Seven of Wands indicates an argument, and it feels almost as if one person is launching all the attacks and all the criticisms, and the other person has no choice but to defend themselves, and they're ill-equipped to defend themselves. So I feel like this is kind of like hitting a little bit below the belt. Um, like knowing how to push somebody's buttons and using everything in your arsenal to make them feel guilty, to really like take cheap shots at them. That's what I'm sensing. There's something happening in your environment here, and I feel like it deals heavily with communication. It deals heavily with value system, and it deals heavily with some type of a betrayal. Somebody that you really trusted, that you feel, I feel like for some of you, this has been a relationship. It's a relationship, and you're still married to this person, and you have been separated, and now this is the month in which you are actually, going to court or trying to settle a situation at a court to avoid, those the fees. And you're not able to see eye to eye, and you're not able to reach any type of meaningful conclusion so that you can extract yourself. And I feel like there's a lot of hostility, a lot of like unfinished business between the two people. And as a result of it, when they come to the negotiating table, nothing is really done, nothing is really discussed, or the conversation doesn't get anywhere. I feel with the Hierophant coming out again, this is a situation where you're going to have to get a middleman, okay? You're going to have to like get somebody to mediate for you so that you're not talking over one another, and that you stay on topic, because I feel like somebody's taking cheap shots here. What I'm also feeling is be ready. So for example, if you are going through a settlement or a divorce and there's a child involved, I feel like, whoever's taking care of the child, there's something here about, 7 days of the week. One parent gets 4 days, the other one gets 3 days, and every week. Okay? And I feel like one parent wants like, I'll get the child this month, you get him or her next month. So, because it seems like the more sensible thing, so that the child is not shuffled around throughout the weekday. And I feel like the other parent is just like concerned about money, so they're like, no, let's not do that, let's do it this way. So the point here is, I definitely see somebody is like not seeing the big picture, not fighting for like the common good, but rather for their own selfish ends. And I do sense because of it, you're kind of exposed to who, the person's true character, and it really does hurt, because I feel like you're trying to, put the child's needs first, and something like this came about, and it's just like a very problematic situation. I do feel things are going to be divided up like 4 days and 3 days. So 4 days with one parent, 3 days with another parent, rather than the monthly basis, okay? And if you can fight for the monthly basis, I do feel it's going to be better for the child, so it's not too disruptive, okay? And then you might not have to deal with the other parent as much if it's more on a monthly basis. So overall, that's a better way to go. Or at least, like bi-monthly, where someone gets the child for 2 weeks, or gets custody for 2 weeks, and then the other 2 weeks is with the other parent. So you want to minimize contact while maintaining a lot more stability for the child as much as you can, because I feel that's coming through. And if you're in court debating this, I feel like fighting for that angle would actually be a lot better for you guys, so that you're not constantly, having to interact with each other, like even throughout the week, because I do sense there's a lot of hostility, and there's a lot of like incompatibility overall. Okay, now in terms of your advice, we do have the Prince of Pentacles, and the Prince of Pentacles indicates a situation where somebody feels almost as if they have to give some money to another person, and they feel almost as if they didn't have to do this. So there's this indignant type of energy associated with this card. And what it's saying here is that you're like going to be in a situation where you're kind of like, you're like the first to offer up your resources, okay? Or somebody in your environment, I feel like you're going to be the first to offer up your resources. And then other people, they're a little bit less, I guess, like, they're not as generous. So then they're going to like squabble among themselves, or they're going to try to evade responsibilities, and they're not going to be able to contribute. So I definitely feel a situation possibly when it comes to like somebody who's in the hospital or something like that, and everyone is trying to pull in their resources, trying to contribute, and then the other people are just not cooperating, and at the end of it, I feel like you might have to do the whole thing on your own. And I feel that you're better off for it, mainly because waiting on them and their false promises, it's going to be very problematic for you. On the other hand, I definitely feel here that we have a situation where there might be, a lot of you might be thinking about a new job environment. You might be handed a job. You might overhear about a job where you feel like it's a better way to go. So you are shifting away from like a main source of employment, or you're reducing the hours you're working, the 9 to 5, and you're shifting into, trying to work on a more client base with commission, rather than just working for yourself. I don't feel self-employment totally, but I do feel reducing hours, working more on a commission basis. And I feel like the money situation, it's a little bit of a competitive environment, because when you have to work on commission, you have to be very, very good at salesmanship. And you don't want to, I feel like if you are just starting this, you might not be as aggressive as the other people that have been in it for a long time. So you're starting out, and throughout this month, you're going to realize that they're quite aggressive. And then by the end of the month, I feel like some of you might be in a situation where you are reassessing, okay? But either way, reassessing whether or not this is the right fit for you. I feel that it has potential. It can grow a lot of money for you. But I do feel that your personality, I don't sense that you enjoy it. And every Taurus is not the same. There are other things in your natal chart that will affect your personality. But what I feel is that you're a little bit happier when something is a little bit more predictable, consistent. So I feel like working in an environment where it's very cutthroat, where everyone is like talking over one another, and it's highly, highly competitive, you might not thrive well. So by the end of the month, I feel like a lot of you are reassessing to see whether or not it's worth it. But I do feel like some major shifts coming through that's going to require you to assert yourself, to tell other people that, here's where I stand, and this is what I really believe in. And I do sense that it's going to be very beneficial for you to do that, because other people are relentless. So don't let them walk all over you. Pick a stance, stick to it, and I feel that it's going to pay off really well for you. All right. So now let's go into your love reading here, Taurus. I apologize for a little bit of the negative slant to the messages. Okay, I apologize. I hope the reading has been helpful, and I hope that it's applicable to you, so that you can at least navigate the energies for this month, for what's coming through for this month. So let's see about your love, romance, and relationships, Taurus. I'm going to light a candle. Give me a second. So love, romance, and relationship for Taurus. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little bit sleepy. So I'm not going to do reversal, and I'm going to overlay the past, present, future twice, okay? Whoops. Okay. I'm going to pull out 2 more cards for you, just so that we can get some type of finality here. It's just 2 more. Okay. So, a little bit of a challenging month for some of you who have just recently ended something. So let's go into this spread here. We're going to talk about the past first, okay? And I'm going to save these for a little bit later. I apologize. It's very late here, and I'm trying to squeeze this reading in, okay? So I apologize for the mishap with the shuffling. Okay, so let's talk about this. First of all, we have the 3 of coins once again. So the majority of the cards that came out in the previous spread are coming out again. So I do feel, once again, it is very, very heavy relationship focus, okay? And especially for those of you who are going through separation or going through divorce. To be a single Taurus is a really, really good time right now to do that, okay? Like if you're single, I feel like you have a lot of good options coming through. For those who are dealing with some type of separation, that's going to be a little bit more problematic, and that's the energy that I'm predominantly, reading for this month. First of all, we have the 3 of Pentacles. This is a situation where you and another person have recently tied the knot. This is, trying to join all of your resources together and trying to build a financial future together. What I'm also feeling is I do feel there is an element here of somebody, like, I feel like it's not equivocal. So one person is making a lot of money and then the other person is making a lot less, okay? So I feel like when you pull the resources together, someone is going to benefit more than the other. But I feel like this is a relationship where you are pulling your resources. So, we're not keeping scores in relationship, right? But I feel like because this has happened in the past, this is a situation where you or the other person was taking it for granted, okay? So I feel like even though it's a relationship, there should be love there. There should be reciprocity. But there's a lot of financial differentials already with the relationship. And it was off to a very, very faulty start from the get-go because it wasn't fair. And it's just a relationship that, on paper, it just didn't look fair, all right? What's linked up with it here is the 6 of Swords. And the 6 of Swords is a situation where you are sailing away from a troublesome situation to a new environment. The 6 of Swords also indicates to me, like, resolving troubles, resolving conflict. And every time there is a conflict that arises, you usually, find a way to smooth things out. So I feel like there has always been a mediator, a person to go in between, like the middleman, in order to smooth things out. Because with the 3 of Pentacles, it means consulting somebody, consulting a lawyer, for example, to financially, like, allow you to extract yourself from a sticky situation with either a ex-spouse or, somebody you're separated from or somebody you were in a relationship with, and there were a lot of financial restrictions, financial inequality, and also financial problems. So I feel like you have relied on a third party, for others of you, in order to help you extract yourself so that you can break away and you can move on your own, okay, without, having to deal with any type of a meddlesome energy. I do feel on the one hand, we're dealing with people who have just recently joined up their financial resources. And then on the other hand, we're dealing with people who have recently hired a lawyer in order to fight a court case situation revolving some type of legal battle, custody issue, marriage, separation, something like that. Okay, so we're dealing with newlyweds and then people who are in have recently divorced or are in the process of getting divorced. So all of these things are a little bit troublesome, which brings us to the present moment. We have here the Ten of Swords as well as the Judgment card. Now, the Ten of Swords, once again, it came out, and this deals with a situation where I feel like you give and give and give and give a lot of yourself, and there were a lot of harsh words thrown about, and I feel like I'm hearing the words like, give the shirt off your back, and then the other person is not appreciative, okay? This is a suit of swords, so a lot of you might be involved with an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, where the situation, it's just like irreconcilable. You're different as night and day. And I do feel like when you need them, they might not be there, and vice versa. I feel like for some reason, when they need you, you might not be there. So I feel some type of contention with this situation where the relationship was very, very unbalanced. One person was working, and I'm sensing one person was possibly staying at home. And when the divorce or when the separation happens, one person felt like they were left stranded, okay? So if you're the one going through this, or if they're the one going through this, I feel like somebody's lawyering up, and as a result, it's kind of like the lawyer is gonna push things along, or the consultant, the lawyer, the advisor is gonna push things along so that the situation itself comes to an end. So it has ended, because with the Ten of Swords, it's not a situation that you can recover from, and I feel like somebody was revealed that they are not forgiving, and I just feel like this is a situation that's irreversible. With any type of a breakdown or any type of an ending to a relationship, there's always two sides to the story, right? But I feel like this is a situation where it's pretty gruesome, where one person feels that the other person is devious, okay? And I feel like there might have been underhanded tactics in order to get a certain outcome. So they pull some strings, or they pull some strings, and they did it in a very, very cunning, unexpected way. So you might have gone to court thinking, oh, it's going to end up like this, and then they pull out a wild card, and it's just like a 180 turn that you didn't expect. So I feel like that's what's happening here. And I feel like if you're dealing with an air sign specifically, it might be coming from the air sign. I don't feel like they're devious or, unethical or anything like that, but I feel like it was a 180 switcheroo with an air sign. You thought it was going to be a certain way, and it didn't come out that way, okay? What's linked up with it, however, is a very good card, which indicates the Judgment. And judgment is basically court case, legal issues, some type of final ruling, some type of a decision, a major, major crossroads decision that is being reached in your own life as to what you want to do. Now, I feel like a lot of you have been unhappy with a relationship, and I feel like you're scoping out new people, or you have somebody else in mind, okay, that you want to be in a relationship with. So you're happily leaving this situation behind, even though it's still kind of messy because you have to sort out your financial situation. But I feel like emotionally, you have already moved on. You've got a lot of options on the table for you. And then for others of you who are just newly single, obviously the previous part is not going to apply to you, which indicates to me that you might have a new air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, in your environment right now that you're checking out, you're scoping out, and you're trying to see if things are going to work and if it's going to be favorable. With the Ace of Swords here, the Ace of Swords is basically a victory, okay? I feel like a lot of you are eyeing somebody who has a lot of suitors with the Seven of Swords, Seven of Cups here, okay? So it feels like this. If you look at the imagery, okay, so you're scoping out somebody. You're scoping out somebody. They've got a lot of options on their plate, but the Ace of Swords is also a card about victory. There's a lot of trying to cross their paths, or trying to catch their eyes, or trying to be in their environment so that they notice you. So I feel like a little bit of planning, well, a lot of planning required on your end in order to, cross paths with them, in order to do something. So to do something to get them to notice you. But I feel like your hard work is going to pay off. They are going to notice you. Right now, it seems almost as if they have a lot of options on the table. They have a lot of suitors. They have a lot of options. So I feel like you're dealing with someone who's quite, naturally, I feel like who's quite attractive, who's quite I feel like very refined. So it could be like very ladylike if it's a female that you're scoping out, or very like gentlemanly, like someone who's very, very polished, very refined. They project this air of sophistication, and I feel like you're trying to get where they are, and you're going to have to pull a lot of tactics in order to impress them. But I feel that you're going to be able to catch their eyes and get their attention if you keep at it. So be consistent, okay? What I'm also feeling is, the Seven of Cups indicates temptation as well. So I feel some of you might be in a relationship. It's kind of like you're hitting some type of rough spots for this month, and you might be eyeing somebody, okay? And vice versa. This energy could be in the relationship itself, but I feel like it's a fantasy. It's an illusion. It's not real. So be very careful about how this plays out, and if it applies to you specifically, just be careful and keep that in mind, okay? But somebody is entertaining the thoughts of a fantasy love relationship that's not really going to pan out well. The foundation here is something that in your environment that you know to be true. These are things that you already know. We have here the Queen of Wands and the Fool. Now, the Queen of Wands indicates a person in your life. This is somebody that you could be the one that with the child, or somebody with a child. Okay, so this is a fire sign, a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. And this is somebody that you're dealing with who is very, very nurturing, who's very, very caring. And I feel like they might be a little bit kind of possessive. And I don't see control issues, because this is a very nurturing, caring, loving type of person. They're always there when you need them, okay? A lot of you might be exhibiting the role of this person where you give and give and give a lot of yourself to nurture a relationship. So going back to what I mentioned before, if you were if you made a lot more money than your partner, and your partner made very, very little, and then when you join assets together, you gave a lot of yourself in order to secure the livelihood for that partner, then this would be your energy. And I feel like the other person is taking it for granted here with the Fool card, which is, rather than staying with the one who loves you, rather than staying with the one that who's very emotionally, financially committed to you, I feel like somebody is taking it for granted and walking out of it, okay? And I feel like it's sort of like I'm reminded of this story where, one person is let's say in med school or something like that, and then the other person is working. And once the other person, becomes a doctor, and I feel like I just feel like the relationship fell apart. It's sort of like you nurture, 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 and you put them through school, or you let them pursue their dreams. And I feel like once they achieve their dreams, they lost sight of, who got them there in the first place. So I feel like this is something coming out where, you put a lot of work into a situation, and the other person wasn't appreciative, okay? And once again, it can go both ways, but it's basically telling you that I feel this energy coming through. And then for others of you who are single, you might be encountering an energy of the Queen of Wands, which is a fire sign, so sun, moon, or rising. And this is somebody who's going to be very, very good for you, who's going to be like, they will give you the shirt off their back. They're very, very caring. They're very loving. And I feel like you might have already encountered this person in your midst that you are, they seem very attractive to, that you are just really magnetically drawn to, okay? I feel like it's somebody who might be a little bit younger. They're very optimistic. They're not jaded by life. Very optimistic, very loving, and, you know, with no strings attached. And I feel like because of it, you're just really drawn to this person. They seem very genuine and very sincere, this fire sign. What brings us, let's look at the crowning energy here. And the crowning energy is basically the person that you're thinking about, or what you're thinking about for this month, and what's really occupying your mind, okay? We have the Eight of Coins. And the Eight of Coins in this deck, it's about manifesting. This traditionally is what I think about when I, look at dating. Like, this is the card about somebody who's going through reviewing all of their options. So this is like the dating website. This is like looking at people's profiles and seeing who is a compatible fit for you. So in a way, you're scrolling through everything. You're briefly like reading everyone's profile, and you're trying to find the right match for you. Okay, so I definitely feel a lot of you are doing this. You have gotten out of a relationship, you're now single, and you're just like, you're thinking about love. You're thinking like, where can I find love? I feel like I need a dose of love, because look at what I have been through in the past. So I feel like you're looking for authentic, true love. And it's out there, and it's going to be a little bit difficult. So a lot of you might be thinking about online dating. A lot of you might even have been doing this, and right now you have some options, possibly 3. You're trying to narrow down your options, and you have somebody, or if you do online dating for this month, I feel like it's really going to pan out very wonderfully for you. So I hope you do that, especially if you're single, okay? Because we have 7 of Cups, which basically means a lot of option. And the foundation here is a fire sign. A really nurturing, pure, sincere person is coming through. That's very, just beautiful, attractive. They might have children. If they're not a fire sign, they might have children, but they're a really good person. Very good heart, okay? So a lot of you might be thinking about this. And I do feel as well, while some of you are dating, you're still trying to extract yourself from that ex relationship. So I feel like you're just exasperated dealing with an ex situation, either a separation, a divorce, some legal issues. And you might be trying to get over it, or trying to de-escalate the situation, or try not to think about it so much. So you might be online dating, and then unexpectedly you meet somebody that is actually going to be very good for you, okay? I'm going to read your 2 advice cards. We do have the Death card that came out first, and the Death card is basically, let this situation go. This situation that is very, very conflict driven, where somebody is constantly accusing somebody of either stepping out of a relationship. I feel for some of you, your mate might be found out that they're looking at, they might have a dating profile, somebody you're seeing, or they might be talking to other people via dating websites. There's going to be some type of confrontation associated with that. If that is the case specifically for you, I feel like you're going to find out with the Judgment card. Okay, and then if you're doing that, your mate is going to find out as well. And it's going to be quite painful. So if you are the one doing this, stop doing it. But if you're dealing with somebody that has a history of doing this, and then you find out this month, they're telling you pretty much to move on from this, because it's not going to serve you well, okay? If it's already happening like this, or if it's a recurring issue, this relationship is just not going to work. So just move on from it, okay? And as well, we have, for those singles, completely single, no emotional baggage or anything like that, we have the Wheel of Fortune, which indicates a very, very fated chain of events that will allow you to be in the right place at the right time to meet a specific person that will be really, really good for you, okay? So especially for those who have been like dealing with, you know, a series of just bad relationships where you were taken for granted, I definitely feel like you're going to meet somebody who is really nurturing, who is really going to take good care of you, and they're going to treat you right, okay? They're going to treat you like the king or the queen. And for once, you're going to be able to sit back and exhale, because I feel like you've been through some bad relationships. And I feel like it was all finance related too, which really sucks, because when you love somebody, you know, you want finances should be the last thing on the agenda. But I feel like you want to be a little bit careful how somebody approaches money as well when you're dating them. But I feel like overall, you're going to have some great luck when it comes to financial resources. For people who are in stable relationships and who are not dealing with any of this, I do feel that this is a really good month for you to, if you're traveling a lot, especially, to really take time to plan a trip with one another, get pampered, get your partner something nice just to show appreciation, and taking trips together, cooking a meal for your partner. I also feel like just a lot of excitement being re-injected back into a relationship, okay? Don't let financial issues overshadow, you know, like the romance and the love in the relationship, okay? So I wish you have a good month, Taurus. I apologize for the earlier spread. It wasn't, it was very conflict driven. So I hope you have a good month, and if you'd like to book a private reading, please visit my website. The information is in the description box below. I also included it's a donation link. If you choose to use the link, I would really appreciate that. So thanks for tuning in, and I will be back for the mid-month reading. Okay, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.